Hello, I'm Benjamin Asante, and this video is an assignment submission for CSE 341, and this is week 2 and then part 2 of the survey API. And based on requirements for this week 2's continuation of the survey API, the focus is on OAuth and then adding OAuth to the survey. Requirements state that the user should be able to log in, log out through the OAuth. So basically, a user would have to log in through the OAuth, log out through the OAuth, and also um, signing up a user or registering a user should be through the OAuth. So I'll go into my code, which we have here. This is my server.js over. I have a controller for the OAuth, and I'm using Google OAuth. And this is basically the code, and I have my Google client ID and then Google redirect URL in my .env, and also it's not pushed to GitHub, which I'll show later. But this is the function for the control for the logout, and also getting the Google redirect link, and handling the Google callback as well. And then the registering of the user is actually also being handled in the callback here. The handle Google callback handles the registering of the user, which you can see here where we are getting the payload and saving into our database. So we find a user with that email, and if that email doesn't exist, since Google already authenticates that email to be valid, we look for it in our database, and if it's not there, then we create a new user with that email, and what we store is the email, the name, and then the Google ID. And also in here in our route, this is the routes folder, route file for the auth, where the first route, which is /Google, is where the user can use to authenticate their email, and also through that the user gets registered and stuff like that. But this second one here is actually to handle the callback, but the user won't be using this. The process will be automatic, so they won't have to copy a token and then come and post it back on the UI. So this is not being this is not available through the Swagger UI because we can't get redirections. So both of these routes, these first two routes, actually have been commented out from the Swagger UI because you can't get redirections from Swagger UI to authenticate Google and stuff like that. And also for security reasons, this was only used to test the tokens received. So this won't also be included, but the logout route is here, and then we can test that out. Okay, so this is my GitHub, and our .env is not being pushed here, and other sensitive stuffs are also not pushed here. So I'll go and start to test my routes. So first, let me check if I have any survey here. This is my email, and let me execute it. And yes, I have surveys here. So this is a survey created by me. So this route demonstrates it's used to show surveys created by me, the one logged in. And then our first route actually is the auth logout route, but I'll try it out when we are done with all this route. So first, let me get all surveys, which I'm sure I only have one survey here, which is created by my account. And also, let me get the survey ID. Okay, and we have the same survey here. Okay. So here we would have to update the survey. Okay. let's say log. And we have the new change being reflected here. It says your feedback. So now we have response. So let's see if try out. So I have this note here to help me with my response and stuff like that. I don't want to write a lot of stuff. That will make the video long. So I'll submit a response. So I'll copy this. Okay, so we have our response body here. Yeah, let's get response by ID. So and we have the response here. So this survey has two response. One which I've already created during testing time, but this is the second one. This is the one we actually just did. And here we have response my survey ID. So this is where I want to get response. I want to get the survey response created by me myself. So this account created a survey and then responded to that survey by himself. So I'll open this and then okay. So both these two surveys are response being sent by the same user, which we can confirm from the submitted by benjaminofreyasanti@gmail.com, which is the same, authorization string we have here, and the second one too, the same thing as well. So now I think we've tested all endpoints, but the only thing we are left with is the logout. So I'm going to log out and then try to it says logged out successfully. So let me try all the routes that require authorization to use. So this is survey.mine, execute and see. So now it says not authorized or not authenticated, sorry, because we are logged out. We are going to get the same not authenticated, still not authenticated, and I think we get not authenticated, and I think basically we will get not authenticated for all of these because they all require the user to be logged in. And I think the last one is to delete. And I think the last one is to delete a route. So I'm going to log in again and then delete one of the service. Okay, so we are logged in. Since we are logged in, let me try the survey/mine again. And now we have the survey. So try the delete route. And it says survey deleted. I'll try and then says this is the ID ending with 4D9. Let's survey by ID. And this one also ends with 4D9. So let's see if it's still in our database. And it says survey not found. So we've successfully been able to delete the survey. So this is the end of the video and also the survey API as well. Thanks.